fuel from the whale's blowhole like a supersonic jet. And below me, the ocean became a sheltered bay studded with white shapes. You will be amazed as my epic journey unfolds. For here, it was about to take a most unexpected turn. And it happened like this. It was a beautiful but deadly wasteland. Freezing cold, brutally chilling, enough to kill a man in hours.
Yet here you are.
Indeed, General. An impoverished childhood playing in the streets of Omsk during those bitter winters had made me hardy.
I thought you said you grew up in Altai.
Ah, General, the life of a poor toy maker's family. We had to move from place to place just to find work.
Sannikov land, eh? Of course, Sannikov himself reported nothing more than a bluish fog on the horizon. Your island may be nothing more than the product of overactive imaginations.
General, consider this. Imagine taking a simple peasant, a pig shepherd, for example, and telling him one day, humans would fly around the earth, beyond the sky. He would say you were stark raving mad, Saldafon, a ridiculous Kazyol Baradati, a buffoon stuffed into a military uniform, a pridurak, a chuchela tuparile.
This peasant of yours had better watch his mouth if he doesn't want to spend his holidays in Solovyetsky. Perhaps you should return to your story.
There in the cliff, I could not believe it. A hairy elephant, trapped and frozen in the ice.
A mammoth?
No, General, a hairy elephant. Who would think such a thing could be? Trudged onwards through the blizzard, one foot grimly in front of the other, blinded by the snow, my nose becoming quite blue, my thoughts of home crushed under the weight of the plummeting temperature.
I am bored, Ivan Ivanovich, and sick to my teeth of listening to this rubbish. Let us speak plainly now. You will tell me where my bomb is, or I will have you shot.
I am just getting to that, General.
Shot! Comrade Primal! Shot with real bullets, fired from a real gun, not some ludicrous Bultavia about lost cities and dinosaurs and mink and mammoth.
It was a hairy elephant.
No! I will not tolerate any more! Where is the bomb, Ivan Ivanovich? Where is little Orpheus?
It was right there.
What?
It was there. At least I realized it must be.
Where?
There?
On Sonic Land?
Yes, General. Because as the storm began to clear, I realized with a strange excitement and trepidation that I was not alone on Sonic Land.
Wait. Go back. You say these lifeboats came from Zarya? A Russian ship?
Zarya returned home, but not with all of her crew. And here were the missing lifeboats, trapped in the ice for all of these years. And it could only mean one thing.
That you are continuing to hang lapsha on my ears.
Baron Edward von Toll. Of course, I remember reading about his tragic expedition at school. We were taught he had died a hero's death out on the icy wastes, searching for Sanikov land. Yet what if, in doing so, he had sailed accidentally into the interior, deep below the crust of the world? A fellow citizen of the surface. I had to try and find him.
A dead explorer stole my...
Not dead, General, but quite insane. Perhaps it was the loss of the arm or the leg, or the long years in isolation. But Toll was clearly mad.
You should have got along perfectly then.
How I wish we had, but no. Whatever Toll's intention with little Orpheus was, I had no time to consider it. I was in mortal peril once more.
So, you believe that Toll had somehow enslaved the Menkiv and bent them to his will?
I do, General. It was obvious. Why else would they serve him? And how else could they be so different from their freed comrades? These odd helmets they wore, it was the science of our times. No doubt about it. Although fused with some strange crystal technology I could not recognize. To be honest with you, it didn't seem appropriate to stop and ask them.
This Toll, you say he was an explorer?
Yes, General, he was. He vanished some 60 years ago. I remember the story well.
And you say he stole little Orpheus?
To get home, General, to get home. I think he must have thought he could use the atomic bomb to blast his way back to the surface.
Brilliant, Ivan Ivanovich! And you expect me to believe that a 100-year-old madman not only survived below the Earth's crust, but enslaved his Menkiv? explored the lost worlds, and discovered the secrets of atomic power, all by himself.
A Tsarist general.
Brilliant, Ivan Ivanovich! And you expect me to believe that a 100-year-old madman not only survived below the Earth's crust, but enslaved his Menkiv, explored the lost worlds, and discovered the secrets of atomic power, all by himself.
A Tsarist general. An imperialist, no doubt harking back to the terrible days before the Great Revolution. And Estonian.
Estonian?
Estonian general.
They are wily people.
The slave mines stretched away into the distance, and I sometimes wondered if I would ever find my way out. But I never gave up, General.
Of course you didn't. You are a hero, Ivan Ivanovich.
No, General, no, I am no hero. I am a simple toymaker's son from Tomsk.
Omsk?
General?
Omsk. You said Tomsk.
I said Omsk.
You said Tomsk.
General, I think I am well aware of the city of my birth.
Perhaps all the moving around as a child confused you.
On we flew across the deserted, frozen plateau. I was single-minded in my pursuit, dogged in my determination. I would take back little Orpheus and prevent Toll from detonating the bomb.
Ah, you are as humble as ever, Tavares.
Well, General, you are a great military leader, a great strategist, whereas I am simply the humble son of a watch toy maker, and driven by patriotic fever with no regard for my own safety. I rushed blindly on.
Will our courageous yet unfortunate hero drown in the depths of an inhospitable frozen sea? Will he thaw out in time to prevent Tull from detonating the bomb? Will the general holiday in Omsk next year? Or Tomsk? Or perhaps both? What exactly is the difference between a mammoth and a hairy elephant? All of these questions and more should almost certainly be answered in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus!
I thought I was doomed. But a miraculous thing happened, General. I could breathe. It must have been the helmet that was jammed onto my head. It was a strange and remarkable thing.
Some might almost say beyond belief.
A narrow-minded fool may indeed, General. But of course, you are no Durak. But even as I sank towards the floor of that lost ocean, my journey was about to take me to darker, stranger territory than ever before. And it happened like this.
Let me see if I have this correctly. After narrowly failing to apprehend the mad missing explorer Tull and recapture my atomic bomb in your giant snowball, you fell through thin ice and sank to the bottom of a subterranean ocean, discovering along the way that the mind control helmet you had accidentally wedged onto your head enabled you to breathe underwater and resume your pursuit across the seabed.
General, you seem perplexed.
Perplexed? Perplexed is that the keys to my house are not where I left them. Perplexed is the fact my dog will not eat cheese like other dogs. No, Ivan Ivanovich, I am not perplexed.
Intrigued, then, perhaps?
I'm not sure intrigued is the correct term either. Enraged at being taken for a simpleton. Now that, perhaps, is a better way of describing my current state of mind.
That is unfortunate, General.
Once again, Comrade Privalov, I must correct you. Unfortunate is losing one's car in a snowstorm. Unfortunate is booking opera tickets on your wife's birthday and getting the date wrong.
Oh, was she furious?
That is not the issue! Furious. However, now that is a good word.
I could speak with your wife. Would that help? I could always have a word with her if you like.
I could always have you shot.
Oh, you could, but I suspect she would appreciate the gesture less. A vast monster of the sea. A giant, humongous, many-armed electrical destroyer of ships and cities.
Electrical?
Electricity flowed along its horrible body, sparking and stunning all it touched, flowing like deadly rivers along its awful tentacles.
A sobering discovery. Are you suggesting that the vessel simply wandered off course and sank here? That seems unlikely even by your standards.
No, General, I only wish that were true. The mighty ship showed terrible scars. Signs of having been grappled and torn asunder by some huge and terrible adversary.
That is indeed strange and curious. I am troubled by this discovery.
Might you almost be perplexed, perhaps?
Don't push your luck. I was stationed at Sydney Ostrif some years ago. I am only too aware of how easy it is for the imagination to create monsters when one is exposed to lonely and dark places. My men required constant monitoring.
Much like my cousin Pavel.
He was also stationed at Ostrov?
No, he required constant monitoring. He was a devil for stealing eggs.
I was referring to the fear that something is lurking in the darkness. Something strange, brutish, and ill-intentioned.
Again, that sounds much like my cousin Pavel. Hunted. There was no doubt about it, and escape was all I could think about.
Naturally.
and duty.
Duty?
Yes, General. After all, I had a bomb to recover from that villain Toll.
How clever of you to remember that.
But first, there was the issue of escape. Escape from a dreadful, grasping creature that consumed all it could reach, dragging anything that wandered within its clutches to a miserable doom. A hoarder of useless trophies and stolen goods.
Once again, Tavarish, I suspect you are pursuing a somewhat tortuous metaphor for capitalism, in the misguided hope of appealing to my political ideals.
I was like a mouse, General. A little mouse being toyed with by a terrible cat.
Rather a wet mouse.
I was like a little underwater mouse.
Being stalked by a giant rubbery electrical cat with 8 tentacles.
Exactly, General.
Good, I'm glad we cleared that up. You may continue. Submarines. You didn't mention submarines before.
Didn't I? Why? No, Naverne, General, of course. Submarines, millions of them. Several, at least.
Any particular submarines? Did you see names, numbers?
General, have you lost a submarine?
I am not at liberty to answer that question, as you well know.
Well, General, losing one's car in a snowstorm is unfortunate, as you say. But to lose a whole submarine, that could be considered careless.
And you are certain it was M. 256?
Well, that was painted on the hull, so I can only assume so.
I think I know where this dismal story is going next. You somehow miraculously brought the remaining closed cycle engine online, flooded the torpedo tubes, dispatched the Kraken with one shot, and triumphantly surfaced.
No, General, that is not what happened at all. I did indeed make my way to the torpedo tubes, but for a very different purpose. After all, history has taught us that atomic power is not to be toyed with.
Much like tired, impatient generals, perhaps. Particularly the perplexed ones.
Indeed, General. Or like dogs that will eat no cheese.
Determined yet disorientated hero end his days as socialist sushi? Will his daring exploits be cut tragically short by vengeful calamari? Will the general's wife ever forgive him for missing Ruslan and Lyudmila? And just how many eggs did Pavel steal, and where did he keep them? All of these questions and more may or may not be answered in the next exciting episode of Little...
I was alive, General. Somehow, miraculously, I was alive. Some twist of fate, some hand of destiny, but I was alive. Strange as this new world was, I knew Toll must have come this way, and it was my task to find him. And it happened like this. The sun beat down on me relentlessly. The heat was unbearable. I was exhausted. Yet I could not stop. I had to go on. For 7 weeks I trudged across the desert. On the second day...
Please, comrade, if we may. I think we can skip the details, unless you consider them to be particularly relevant to the location of Little Orpheus.
Of course, General. We will simply omit the tale of the singing chasm, the oasis of mirrors, The sightings of Toll's Mieng fell off on their pterodactyls carrying parts of my crashed rocket drill over the horizon to Lemuria.
Wait, the what?
Singing chasm?
Not that, but the rocket drill.
Oh yes, General, the rocket drill. But what did Toll want with it? And why Lemuria?
Lemuria?
Lemuria, General.
I am not familiar with this Lemuria, comrade.
Well, that is because it does not exist, General. Or at least, so I thought. Those strange crystals seem to exert an extraordinary hold over the stone blocks and arches. When they hummed, the whole city remade itself. Where they were missing, clearly looted by some villainous thief, the city was fallen to ruin. It was like a vast musical instrument, vandalized, and yet still attempting to toot.
How poetic. I am sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure. If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General? Really? That is unfortunate news indeed.
I am joking, comrade.
Oh yes, the Mieng were here, all right. Which meant whatever dastardly scheme Toll had, it was to be enacted on these burning sands.
And you will explain this in due course, I imagine.
Eminently, General. What you need to know first is this. I have told you already how parts of the devices the enslaved Mieng were forced to wear came from the surface.
Radio parts and so on, yes, from what you have told me. Assuming there were plenty of lost ships in the ocean as you claim, for Toll to have dredged up what he needed to assemble them.
Aha, good. You are one step ahead of me, General.
I said assuming.
Of course, assume. Now, as I gazed in awe at the buildings rising and falling around me, I realized that the other major component of those mind-controlling helmets was crystal. Tol had raided Lemuria for me. He knew the city. He knew the crystals could amplify vibrations and waves, and was using them to boost the signal of the radio parts to exert his control over the nymph. Which meant...
Yes?
Imagine what such amplification could achieve when fused to the finest atomic science our great Soviet civilization has produced.
Wait. I do not understand. You said Tol was planning on using the bomb to shatter the Earth's crust to return to the surface.
A tragic mistake, General. I had not recognized the extent of his mad ambitions.
You mean to imply Tol would have attempted to enslave the Russian people? Pah! The will of the Soviet citizen is mighty and strong.
To you, perhaps, as a trained warrior. But consider, perhaps instead, a humble son of a toy maker from Tomsk.
Ah, yes. Perhaps we have our share of simpletons, after all.
The vast pictograms told of a history of wonders. They seemed to suggest the Lemurians were travelers from another world, where a mysterious clock seemed to stand.
That is very mysterious. As mysterious as the location of little Orpheus, perhaps.
Ah, yes, of course, General. I am just getting to that. As I bravely explored that ancient city, a question was gnawing at my mind. What did it mean that the Lemurians had foreseen the coming of Tol? And who was the man from above that was celebrated as the savior of the Mengf? It was almost as if they could read the future in their crystals. The bells of Lemuria tolled and tolled, a roaring symphony, a crescendo of peals that set the city dancing, each note causing the crystals to shimmer and cascade with light. But the sandstorm was no natural phenomenon, and the bells did not ring for celebration. Something was very wrong here.
Aside from the pterodactyls and the Mengf and the dancing stones and the ancient magical prophecies and the crystals and now the giant bells, you mean?
If you don't want me to continue, General, then I can easily just quietly go home.
Don't think Chepucha will get you out of this one, comrade.
Through those magical structures, a righteous fire in my heart. I was like Dobrynya Nikitch, prepared to strike at the dragon who threatened my homeland.
Your heroism is only surpassed by your modesty.
On the contrary, General, I chose Dobrynya carefully. Like him, I am a simple peasant. It was fate that chose me to descend to the Earth's core.
It was General Komanin who chose you to descend to the Earth's core. But don't let that get in the way of your story.
Well then, award General Polkovnik Komanin the highest medal in the world.
He already has 7 of those.
I cannot take credit for his wisdom in sending me. What was once a rocket drill ship, built to burrow into the Earth, was now a mighty vessel, repurposed to blast off into the skies. There was no doubt the toll was headed for the strange world with its clock, although to what end I was yet to understand. But there was no time to consider, no time for questions. was on the rocket. Little Orpheus was on the rocket. And wherever they were headed, I must head there too, to thwart his plans, recover my drill, and save the world!
Will our enthusiastic yet disorientated hero be burnt to a cinder by the rocket's engines? Will he be smashed into the rock that surely must be beyond the Lemurian skies? Does Nikolai Petrovich Kamenyan really need any more medals? What was the strange clock, and what could it all mean? All of these questions, and more, will be answered, if you're extremely lucky, in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus!